Hi, my name is Jamie, and 2 years ago, I was just like you. Zero internships and really no clue what I was doing professionally. But now I'm a junior business student at WashU in St. Louis, and I've been lucky enough to have 3 different internships, all the way from my first one at a campus startup which had like under 10 employees to most recently working for a global company with over $5 billion in yearly revenue. I'm not a recruiting expert by any means. I still get rejected from jobs constantly, but I do know enough to get started, and I want to make this video to tell you guys everything that I wish I knew when I was at this point. Because we all want to have money, and in order to get money, you need a job, but in order to get a job, you need prior job experience.
Because entry-level jobs these days now require 5 years of work experience. How am I supposed to get job experience if I don't have job experience?
This video teaches you where to start because your first internship is honestly the hardest to get. After that, you can leverage the experience and connections and resume bullet points that you have to get even better stuff in the future. So I'm going to share some of my personal experience as well as break this video up into 3 sections. What to look for in terms of skill and experience, and also my thoughts on unpaid internships. Step by step how you're actually going to get your first internship. And third, once you have your internship, because you will, how to excel at it. Starting off with what to look for, I'm gonna get straight into money because it is a big consideration. My first internship was actually unpaid for the first 6 months of part-time work, and there's a good chance that yours will be too. I think the only circumstance that unpaid internships are okay is when it's a super small company and they literally can't afford to pay you, they just don't have money, or all of their money is going understandably into developing their product. But if you do happen to land an offer at a company that seems like it's established, it has a couple full-time employees, and they're still not offering you any type of money, then I think you should run. It's not even really about the money itself, but I think when a company does have funding but they don't want to pay an intern, it just signals worse things about the company, about not respecting your time and exploiting your labor. A year and a half ago, I had an opportunity at a consulting firm in Chicago that wasn't huge, but it seemed pretty well established, and the wage was $6.25 an hour. I did not even consider that job. This is why I would also recommend for your first internship, if you can, to have it during the college semester and doing it part-time, because then money isn't as big of a consideration and you also have flexibility. Remember, we're just trying to get experience and something to put on our resumes, so I honestly think more about your first internship as a club or extracurricular commitment than a serious job. Okay, so now that we have money or lack thereof out of the way, what kind of skill or experience do you want to get? You might have a skill in mind that you already know you're passionate about, such as marketing, sales, design. If so, that's great, because that's going to be a great starting point for the next section, which is the actual job search. But if you don't have a skill that really sticks out to you or past experience, then that's also totally okay, because at this point in our careers, literally anything is a learning experience, and anything that you do will be valuable in some way. Cool, so now we have expectations set and we have a skill we can offer. Now, how do you actually get an internship? You've probably been searching up on LinkedIn, maybe you're sending your resume off into a few places. This is 99% of the time not the way that you're going to get your first ever internship. It can work for your second and future internships, but if you're kind of just blind applying your resume off, first of all, a lot of companies have AIs that screen your resume, so if you don't have any previous internship or business experience, you probably aren't going to make the cut, to be honest. But also, being frankly, when you're looking at hundreds of applicants, there's no reason to hire someone without having prior work experience. It sounds harsh, but I was in this boat too. Okay, so then what can you do? You need a way for 1, business owners to know who you are, 2, by offering to provide value to them. At this point, so early in our careers, honestly, the only thing we can really offer companies is our willingness to learn. And in some smaller companies, they are happy to just have an extra person on board. So there are 2 ways you can do this. The first one is cold emailing business owners or messaging them on LinkedIn, literally where they have no idea who you are. And the second one is by being involved in your campus's entrepreneurship center, which this is the one that I wholeheartedly recommend. Literally, anytime a freshman comes up to me and is stressed out and is how do I get my career started, I recommend to every single person to start off their first internship at a student-run startup at your college, even though literally 90% of the time they are unpaid. So I'm going to start with this method. I don't care which college you go to, there are going to be some student-run businesses, and the way that you're going to know about them is either you're friends with the founder or someone that works there, or by attending events at your campus entrepreneurship center. If you have a friend, literally reach out to them and be hey, can I help build your startup? But if you don't, which was the case for me, go to some type of event, like a pitch event, showcase, networking that's hosted by your campus, where basically a bunch of students are going to share their business ideas or businesses they're working on. And the key is you want to listen for some of the ideas that are more established. So maybe you can just tell that the owner is super committed. Maybe they have a product in development. Maybe they even have a product out in the market that they're testing, and take a note of it. Like a couple of them will probably naturally stick out to you. So during the event or after it ends, if you're a little more shy, go up to the founder and get their contact information. Just kind of share like who you are, you're eager to learn, and you'd love the chance to work for their business. The thing is, anyone that's like crazy enough to found a business, especially in college, is probably in love with their idea and will like be so happy at the chance for anyone to like help build it and bring it into reality. So I'll be very surprised if you do this and do not walk out with your first internship literally like under the span of 2 hours. And remember, I know free work is kind of like a controversial concept. I was working a part-time paid campus job the entire time I was also doing my first internship, so I understand, but the reason we're doing this first internship is to get experience that you can then leverage into even more money in the future than you would if you were spending your time working at that job that's like $10 per hour. As long as you're not being taken advantage of, like it's a company that has funding that could pay you but is choosing not to, which is a signal of like worse problems, then I don't see any issue for temporary, like 1 semester to a few months of free work. It's all about the long run growth. Okay, the second way, if you're like really not vibing with your school or it's a super small scene, is to do a cold reach out. So either maybe like school alumni or even just business owners on LinkedIn or email. This is going to be more difficult because they're probably going to be more established businesses if you've actually heard of them. It also probably will be like a remote job if it's just some person you're messaging online. It can still work with this one key element, which is to focus your message only on the value that you can bring to their business. Don't start launching into like your life story and saying how you're trying to get experience for your first internship, because it actually takes a lot of effort for someone to like bring on an intern. So the key is to approach them with a project idea that you can implement in their business. You could leverage past projects you've done. So if you're like a graphic design student, you can offer to like redo the logos for their YouTube channel. But by doing this, it'll literally make it as easy as possible for them to say yes to your work offer. I actually did this myself for my second internship, which is at a startup called Creator Now. I literally knew no one at the company. Like I just thought it sounded cool because it teaches people how to be YouTubers. So I made a 60-second video only focusing on the value that I can bring to the business. And I was lucky enough that they also thought that would be valuable. So it's been such an awesome time. Congratulations. So now you have your first internship. I want to give you guys 5 quick tips that are actually like constructive feedback I've received during my internship so that you guys don't make the same mistakes. The first one is that you are going to be approaching a ton of new situations. So always put in the work up front, do research, have something to show working through a problem before you go and like ask your boss for help. This is a good skill in general to be able to deal with more ambiguous situations, and it will also impress your boss a ton that you have something to show them. Number 2, do not ask questions that you can just Google the answer to. But on the flip side, do not hold back in asking as many like meaningful and specific questions as you can. When you're endlessly curious like this, you'll learn a ton, but it'll also help you understand the business and come up with like new problems to solve outside of just your job description. Number 3 is to be proactive. Come up with new like project or initiative ideas that are outside of your job scope or not things that your managers just directly tells you to do all the time. Number 4 is to get out of your comfort zone. Do what's required of you, not just the best that you think you can do right now. For example, in my first internship, I had to do a few different public speaking gigs, and I was always terrified of public speaking, but I had no other choice because this was literally like fundraising money for the company. And now I don't have a fear of public speaking. And last, number 5 is to set up meetings with people in every part of the business. Even if you're like a marketing intern and they're a programmer, just 30 minutes to get to know each other. It's good to like build your network, explore other career paths, and then also stay in touch with people that you've met after the internship, whether it's about like industry news, cool projects you're working on. So I hope this video was helpful both in like a mindset to approach your first internship, but also tactical advice on how to actually get one. Again, I'm not an expert. I've gotten rejected from multiple jobs like just this week even, but I have figured out where to start. I know how overwhelming getting into the whole like recruitment job search process can be. So if you guys have like any questions at all, definitely leave them in the comments, or if you have more specific questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, link in the description. Thanks for watching.